Okay, very good morning to you. On behalf of Department of Decision Sciences and Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, I warmly welcome all of you for the second semester. So you had a long vacation due to the COVID-19 virus. Now from today, we start the second semester. So the Department of Decision Sciences offers DSC 1341 Business Statistics subject for this semester. Subject called DSC 1341. Subject is Business Statistics. If you can't see again, I rewrite. Right? Subject is Business Statistics. So, first of all, we can go through the background of the course. Now you can see the slideshow. Right? According to the first slide, you can see the course background. So every week you are having 3 hours lectures, each session 1.5 hours. Then you have lectures 2 days per week, 1.5 into 2, 3 hours. In addition to the lectures, you will be having assignment classes every week. Right? Every week you are having assignment classes. So therefore, my advice is, please try to go through each and every lecture. Don't miss any lecture. Why? Why I am saying that? Because sometimes if you miss one lecture, if you cannot follow one lecture, what will happen? When you come to the next lecture, sometimes you may face some problems. Because sometimes we are having the continuation. Right? So, and the other thing, because of the nature of this subject, sometimes you will not be able to follow the lectures once you miss one. So therefore, if you want to get through the exam very well, my advice is to follow up every lecture. Don't miss any lecture. Not only that, but also don't miss the assignment classes. Because sometimes, as management students, sometimes you are not familiar with this type of subjects, right? So therefore, if you miss something from the theory part, then you can capture them from your assignment classes. Not only that, now you know this is a quantitative subject. As a quantitative subject, the practice is the best thing. So during the theory, because of the time limitation, we do only few examples, 1 or 2 sometimes. But more examples you can discuss under the assignment classes. So therefore, my advice, not only our lecture panel, all of our lecturers will definitely advise you to follow all lectures together with the assignment classes. Okay. Then when we come back to the background of the course, you can see how we evaluate you at the end of the semester. So there are 2 methods of evaluating you. First one, continuous assessment. Right? So doing the continuous assessment, you can earn 30% out of 100. Right? 30%. Most of the time, by the nature of our subject and the number of students, most of the year we conduct mid-semester. Sometimes it may be changed. Right? But most of the time we are having mid-semester paper. From that you can earn up to 30 marks out of 100. Then final exam you can get 70% marks. So this is the background. And the other important thing, the subject code DSC 1341. So according to the second digit 3, it indicates you can earn 3 credits for this subject. In other words, 3 credits are assigned to this subject. Before I go to start the first chapter of this subject, what I want to tell you, now sometimes you may get frightened because you are coming from the commerce field, right? So some students, not only all of them, few of them may think this will be a very difficult subject for us. Why? We did commerce in the A-levels. Now after we come to the management faculty, why we are having this type of mathematics subject? So what I want to tell you, this is not pure statistics. Here we are going to discuss the application of statistics in the field of business. So therefore, we are not going to prove anything. We are not going to prove. We are going to discuss how we can apply statistical technique and tools in order to solve the problems which are arise in the field of business. Therefore, if as I mentioned earlier, we are not going to do any proof parts. So no need to worry about that part. So only the thing, you are giving formulas, you have to become familiar with them, then you have to know how to apply these things once the problems are arise in the field of business. So therefore, that's why the subject is called business statistics, not pure statistics. We are learning only business statistics. So therefore, again, I repeat that we are going to discuss how we can apply tools, techniques and tools in the statistics in order to solve the problems which arise in the field of business. Okay, let's go through the next slide. Next slide. The course description. You can see, according to that, this course provides an introduction of the fundamental concept, principles and methods of business statistics. So that's why I mentioned this is a fundamental course. Therefore, we are going to introduce some fundamental concepts in the statistics. So the other thing, this is not the entire statistics. We are going to actually, we have selected some topics or the techniques which are very useful and which are applied in the field of business. Right? Further, it says the topics included in this course covers descriptive techniques, probability theory, probability distributions, inferential techniques. Right? Then, even though we said here the first topic is descriptive techniques, but actually it is descriptive statistics. So later you will be able to understand the meaning of descriptive statistics. Right? Then secondly, probability theory. Right? Then sometimes you may have a problem why this probability theory is needed for the management students. Why it is important? So what is the answer for that question? If you can, in 1977, before the 1977, we have the closed economy. After introducing the open economy in 1977 by the government, what was happened? If you take the same industry, what you can observe, there are a lot of suppliers or the competitors. So therefore, not like the previous time before the 1977. After the 1977, what you can see, if you take an industry, there are many competitors. For example, before the 1977, if you take the shoe industry, only 3 or 4 companies were operated. Only 3 or 4. Right? But after introducing this open economic, nowadays what you can see, there are a lot of suppliers for the shoe industry, lot of producers. So having this situation, what you can see within the same industry, having large number of suppliers, then they have a competition. They have a competition. This competition leads for uncertainty in their field. Uncertainty. This competition makes uncertainty environment for the field of business. So therefore, under this uncertainty environment, once the business person is going to make decisions, he or she may have to consider what is the uncertainty involved with their decision. It is very important. If someone does not consider this uncertainty environment, what will happen? Most of the time they will fail in their decision making. So therefore, it is very, very important to measure what is the uncertainty involved with their decision. So the measuring of uncertainty with the event is called probability theory, nothing else. Right? It is nothing else. You will learn later how to evaluate or how to calculate the probabilities involved with the events. So therefore, it is very important to study the probability as management students. Right? Then the next part, again actually continuation of the probability theory. It is called probability distribution. Actually, it is random variables and probability distribution. Sometimes this may be a new for you, right? Then the next one, inferential statistics. Inferential, right? I said earlier descriptive, now inferential statistics. So under the inferential statistic, we are going to study how we can make some conclusion based on a part of a population. That is what we are going to discuss under the inferential statistics. So we will explain these things later, right? Okay. If you move to the next slide, you can see what are the topics covered in each topic, right? First, under the descriptive statistic, first you will learn collection and organization of primary data. Collection and organization of primary data. Secondly, diagrams and graphs. Then frequency distributions, summary measures, then measures of central tendency. Under the summary measures, we will discuss measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, and we introduce the skewness. Then under the probability and the probability distributions, first we discuss the probability theory. Under that, first we study what do you mean by probability, right? As I mentioned earlier, the uncertainty involved with the events we measure numerically, it is called probability. So first we give the introduction part. Then we discuss definitions of probability. Under the definition of probability, again you will teach how to calculate probabilities associated with the different events, right? Then we will discuss joint probability, marginal probability, conditional probability, multiplication rule of probability, independent events, the total probability law, and finally we discuss Bayes' theorem. Then after completing the probability theory part, then we move to the probability distributions, random variables and probability distributions. Under the probability distributions, actually we are going to discuss only three. There are many probability distributions. Sometimes you may misunderstand that the only three probability distributions exist. No, there are a lot of probability distribution. But here we are going to discuss, out of them, we are going to discuss only three. Binomial distribution, first one, Poisson distribution, and final one, normal distribution. The final one is very, very important for the business people. What is that? Normal distribution. It is very important, right? Learning of this normal distribution. So in your future, as a manager or as at least as an executive, you may experience the importance of the knowledge of normal distribution. So it is very important. Actually, not only the normal distribution, but also binomial and Poisson also important, right? Okay. Then you move to the next slideshow, then we are moving to the inferential statistic part. Under the inferential statistics, first we discuss sampling and sampling distributions. Under the sampling, we are going to study how we can select a sample from a population, right? Then the next part is sampling distribution. Most of the time, according to my experience, this sampling distribution is a new topic for most of the students. But actually, you are no need to worry, right? Simple theory behind the sampling distribution, but it is the base. It is the base for the inferential statistic part. So therefore, you have to learn this one properly, right? Even it's a new one, but if you follow properly, then you can capture this sampling distribution knowledge very easily. So again, I emphasize, you have to have a very good knowledge regarding to the sampling distribution theory, because it is the base for the inferential statistic part. Then next we discuss the estimation. Next we discuss under the inferential statistics the estimation. If I explain simply, the meaning of estimation means we are going to estimate unknown characteristic of a population based on the sample information, right? Under the estimation, we are going to estimate unknown population parameter using the sample statistic. Even I said this sentence, I know that you are not familiar with two technical words, parameter and sample statistics, right? Okay, then I will explain these two technical terms later, right? So therefore, under the estimation, what you have to keep in your mind, you are going to do an estimation. So you know, if you are doing if you make an estimation, it means it is not 100% correct. It is not 100% correct, right? Therefore, under the estimations, we always include the probability statement. What is the probability? Our estimation will become true. So that's why, before you come to the estimation, that's why you are learning probability theory. Why? Probability theory explains us how to estimate the uncertainty involved with the events. So therefore, under the estimation, we include a probability statement. What is the probability? Our estimation will become true. Then the next part is the hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing. So under the hypothesis testing, again, sometimes we can have some assumptions. We can have some assumptions regarding to the characteristics of a population. We can have some assumptions. For example, assume that I have an assumption regarding to the average income of the families live in Colombo. So cost of living is high. In Colombo, everything you have to purchase from the shops. So the cost of living is very high. So now I have an assumption, if I want to live in Colombo city, I have to have at least 150,000 monthly income. It is an assumption. But I don't know whether really it is true or false. I don't know. So this type of assumptions regarding to a population, we simply say hypotheses. They are the hypotheses, right? So now we want to test whether our hypothesis is true or false. Or in other words, we can reject or we can accept our hypothesis. We do that by taking a sample. We are not going through each and every unit in the population. We just take a part from the population, which is called sample. Based on the sample information, we are going to make a conclusion whether our hypothesis is we can reject or we can accept, right? Okay, then we are having another type of hypothesis testing. It is called chi-square test. Chi-square test. Under the chi-square test, again, what we are going to test, we are going to test whether there is a relationship between two qualitative variables. Two qualitative, right? Qualitative means variables which cannot measure numerically. For an example, if we want to know whether there is a relationship between lung cancers and smoking habits. Lung cancers cannot be measured numerically. You can count but cannot measure numerically, right? And the smoking habit, yes or no, right? If you have this type of two variables, and if you want to know whether they are related or they are not related, then the test we can apply is the chi-square test, right? It is also a hypothesis test. Then finally, after completion this inferential statistic part, we are going to discuss very important statistical technique which is highly used in the field of business, not only the field of business, also in economics, highly used, not only the economics but also financial management field. You can see these two techniques are highly used. What are the two techniques? Correlation analysis and regression analysis. These are the things that we expect to cover throughout this course, DSC 1341 Business Statistics. Okay, right. Then this is how we have organized. This is how we have organized our chapters for this course. Chapter number 1, meaning and scope of statistics. Chapter number 2, data and data collection. Chapter 3, presentation of categorical data. So sometimes you may not familiar with this technical term, no need to be worried. We will explain them later. Chapter 4, presentation of quantitative data. The next chapter is the summary measures. After that, you are having probability theory. Then it follows random variables and probability theory. Then the theoretical distributions. Chapter number 9, sampling and sampling distributions. Chapter number 10, statistical estimation. Then hypothesis testing, chi-square test of independence. And finally, the simple regression and correlation analysis. So these are the things we are going to discuss under this course. So actually, my concern is no need to worry. Very easy. Only the thing you have to follow this lecture series well. Don't miss anyone. Then this subject will become very easy for you. Okay, we start with chapter number 1. Right? Next slide. You can move to the next slide. Right? Chapter number 1. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 1. What is the topic of this chapter? Meaning and scope of statistics. Meaning and scope of statistics. Okay, before you go to study any subject, it is important to know what are the things we are going to learn. What are the things we are going to learn? If you know them at the beginning of the course, then it will be very easy for you to continue your subject. So therefore, one method of understanding what are the things we are going to discuss under any subject, the method is, what is the easier method? You can go through the definitions of the subject. Definition of the subject. If you go through the definition of the subject, then you can understand what you are going to learn. You can have a good idea what you are going to study. Okay. Therefore, let's start with the definition of the subject. Right. Sorry. Before that one, normally you have the experience in the first semester. Before starting any chapter, we are giving what are the objectives and what are the expected outcomes of the result. Right? According to the objectives of this one, first objective to define statistics and its application in major areas. Then second one, introduce important concept of statistics. Final objective, identify the limitations of statistics. Right. Then after completion of the lesson, the expected outcomes are summarized as follows. So after completion of the lesson, student will be able to describe what is meant by statistic and its application, and will have proper understanding difference between the descriptive statistic and inferential statistic. And finally, the student will have an understanding of usefulness of statistic as a tool of decision making to business management and economics, along with limitation of the subject, according with limitation of the subject. Okay, we move to the next slide show. We can, what is statistic? What is statistic? Right? Just read this. Right? Read very carefully. Take time and read. Right? What is statistics? First, we can get a simple idea before we move to the formal definition. First, we shall get the simple idea about what is statistic. Please refer the next slide show. You can see, according to that slide show, in the left side, you are having a data set. So, in day-to-day life, most of the time we hear the word statistic. So, what do you mean by that? In the day-to-day life, statistic means figures, the numbers. So, with having only the figures or the numbers, we cannot come to a conclusion. No, we cannot find a solution by only referring the figures. Therefore, what we need, we want to convert these figures into useful information. Right? If you want to have a decision, or if you want to make a decision, or if you want to have a solution, then what you want to do, you want to convert this statistic or the figures into a useful information. Right? Useful information. Right. Now, actually, from this subject, we are going to learn how we can transform, or how we can convert the statistic or the figures into the useful information, which is very useful for decision making process. Right? Okay, let's move to the next slide. Okay, the thing that I have explained little while ago, please go through that slide show so you can understand. Right? In that slideshow, you can see in the left side, you have the figures. That is what it mentioned, data. Then, having only, as I said earlier, with having only these figures, we cannot find a solution. Right? So, we want to convert them into the useful information. Based on the useful information, we can find the solution or the decision. Right? Okay. Now, we are going to move the next slide. It explains the definition of statistics. Definition of statistics. Okay, let's go through the definition. Right? It explains the statistic is a science of collecting, organizing, presenting, analyzing, interpreting of numerical data. Interpreting of numerical data to make effective decisions under uncertainty. Right? Again, we shall go through the definition. Again, go to the slideshow. Right? What is according to that definition? Statistic is defined as a science. Science of collecting, organizing, presenting, analyzing, and interpreting what type of data? Numerical data. What do you mean by numerical data? Numerical data means the information or the data that we can receive numerically. Right? So, later you will be able to understand we have two types of data. numerical and non-numerical. Numerical data called quantitative data. The non-numerical data are called qualitative data. But even though we can take these two types of data for our problem, but the thing under the statistic, we are dealing only with quantitative data or numerical data. Again, go to the slideshow. So it says, interpreting of numerical data to make effective decision under the uncertainty. Effective decision, right? So what do you mean by effective decision? You have to take the best solution, or you have to take the best decision for your problem, right? So therefore, but however, once you go to make these decisions, you are subject to some uncertainty. That's why the previously I said you have to measure uncertainty involved with your decision. So that's why we have included probability theory under this subject. So now you have understood the definition of subject. Further, if you discuss this subject, it says the first step or the first function is collection of numerical data. Collection of numerical data. Why you need to collect the data? What is the reason? Just think. Why you are going to collect the data? Actually, we are going to collect the data once a problem is arise. Once the problem is arise, we want to get a solution for this problem. If you want to get an effective solution, means effective decision for your problem, it means you have to study the problem. If you are going to study the problem, that means you have to collect the data regarding to your problem. So that is the very first step. What is the very first step? You have to collect the data according to your problem. Regarding to your problem, you have to collect the data, right? Once you collect the data, what you can see, the collected data are not in a proper order. They are not in a proper order. For an example, assume I mentioned earlier example. Now I am leaving Homagam. So now I am expecting to go to the Colombo, right? Because of certain purpose, now I want to shift to the Colombo. So before I go to the Colombo, I want to know how much I need to spend for a month in Colombo. How much I want to spend. So in that case, what I want to know, what should be the monthly income if I go to Colombo, if I decide to live in Colombo, how much I want to have for a month. What should be average income for the families who are living in Colombo city. So therefore, now I have a problem. What is the problem? What should be the average monthly income of the families who live in Colombo city? Because I have decided to shift to Colombo from Homagam. Then I know I want to survive there. If I want to survive in Colombo, how much I need for a month? So that is my question. So therefore, what I can do, I can collect the data regarding to my problem. Collect the data means I have to go some families who are living in Colombo city, and I have to collect the data regarding to their monthly income, right? So in that case, right, after I collect this data from, just say I visited 1,000 families, then I have 1,000 figures, but they are not in a proper order. You can see. So if you have data which are not in a proper order, then actually I cannot make the best decision. For example, based on the collected data, if I want to know how many families having income between 5,000 and 20,000, I can't get the answer quickly. Why? The data not in proper order. Or I want to know how many families get monthly income more than 200,000 rupees. So cannot take it quickly. So these are the questions we are facing if you are going to deal with the data which are not in a proper order. So therefore, before you go to come a conclusion or the solution for your problem or the decision for your problem, you have to organize your data. Organizing means actually two meanings are there. That means first thing, you have to arrange the data in proper order. So already you know, you can arrange the data in proper order. You can use two methods. What are the two methods? Ascending order and descending order of the data. You can arrange. But sometimes, even if you arrange the data in ascending or descending order, if you, then what you can see, still the handling of data set is not easy. Why? You have a large number of figures. Even though they have arranged in ascending or descending order, what you can experience, handling of the data is not easy. So therefore, second thing coming under the organization of data, you have to think how to summarize them. How to summarize, organize data. This is what we call organization of data. After you arrange the data properly and summarize the data set, now handling of data is become very, very easy for you. You will get experience regarding to this under the chapter number 4. You will get the experience, right? Okay, then after you organize the data, next step is you have to present the data. Now you may think, why we need to present the data? Right? Why you need to present the data? Actually, the purpose of presenting the collected data is to get rough idea about our data set. Because our ultimate objective is to find a solution or the decision. It is based on the analysis of data. Once you have a rough idea about your data set, then the analysis part will become very easier. Therefore, by presenting the data, you can get a rough idea about your data set. Once you go to present the data, you can use 3 methods. First method, you can present the collected data by a table. That is called tabulation form. Second method, you can present the data by diagrams. There are different types of diagrams. You will discuss them in the next chapter after the next, right? Then third method is you can present the data by a graph. Okay, so what is the useful or why we are need to present this data? As I mentioned earlier, we want to get a rough idea. By presenting the data by a table or diagram or graph, we can identify many characteristics of the data set. For example, you can identify the trends in your data set. What type of trends are existing in your data set? You can identify. You can make the comparisons, right? You can make the comparisons. Then you can get the idea about your data set, right? Later you will discuss one method of presenting the data is called histogram, right? After you draw the histogram for your data set, you can get the idea how your data set is spread or distribution of your data set. Look at the board. You can see after you draw your histogram, right? If you get this type of a histogram, what you can see, your data set or your histogram, we can divide exactly into 2 equal parts. You can divide exactly into 2 equal parts. If you can divide your histogram exactly into 2 equal parts, then we have a symmetrical. We have symmetrical distribution. Symmetrical distribution. In other words, our data set is distributed symmetrically. Right? Sometimes, after you draw the histogram, you can receive this type of a histogram. Right? You will learn what we mean by histogram later. Until then, keep in your mind this type of a picture is called histogram. Right? Here, what you can see, this histogram we cannot divide exactly into 2 equal parts. That means this data set is not symmetrical. It is asymmetrical. Asymmetrical. Right? So this is very important. Before you go to analyze your data set, most of the time we look at whether we have a symmetrical or asymmetrical distribution. Because after you identify this, you can decide what type of techniques, statistical techniques you can apply to analyze your data set. Most of the time it is depend on the shape of the distribution. Actually, here shape of symmetrical, asymmetrical means shape of your data set, right? It is very important. Then the next thing, next one, you have to interpret your data. Now you have collect the data, you have already organized, you have present them. Now the next step, you have to analyze the data set. Analyzing, in order to analyze the data set, you have to identify what are the characteristics. What are the characteristics your data set possesses? What are the characteristics? If you take any data set, it can possess 4 types of characteristics. 4 types of characteristics, right? First one is called central tendency. First one, central tendency. Second one, dispersion. Third one, skewness. Skewness. Last one, kurtosis. Kurtosis. So if you take any data set, you can find sometimes that data set can possess all 4, or sometimes it may have 1 or 2 or 3 characteristics. Then, even though there are 4 characteristics, but in management field or the business field, actually the highly important characteristics are central tendency and the dispersion. Central tendency and the dispersion. Why I said, if you take financial sector, you can see the central tendency measures and dispersions are highly used, right? Central tendency and dispersion are these 2 characteristics highly used as the applications. It is not mentioned these are not used. They use, but very rare. Especially last characteristic is it is very rare to use in the field of business and economics. So therefore, in order to analyze the data, first we do what? We are going to identify the characteristics belong to a data set. So the next question, how we can study these characteristics? You know, here according to the definition, we collect only numerical data. Then using the numerical data, how we can study these characteristics? The method is we calculate some numerical measures. We calculate some numerical measures. By calculating the numerical measures, we can study central tendency characteristic, dispersion characteristic, skewness, so on. So therefore, all these characteristics we study by calculating numerical measures. So these numerical measures are termed as summary measures. They are called summary measures. You can see here in outline, chapter number 5 is the summary measures. Summary measures, right? Okay. Then finally, now you have the analysis part. That means the result of the analysis you have. Now, next thing is you have to interpret. You have to interpret your results, right? After you interpret the results, now you can make the conclusion, or you can find an effective decision for your problem. Effective decision under the uncertainty. Under the uncertainty. So, why we include this uncertainty? The reason in statistics studies, most of the time, our problem is in the population. Problem is in the population. But even though the problem in the population, but we study that problem taking a sample. We take a sample, right? The problem is in the population, but the population problem we study taking a sample from the population. So therefore, based on the sample information, we are going to derive a conclusion about the population problem. We are going to derive a conclusion. So you can see you are based on the sample information, but problem is here. So therefore, if you make the conclusion based on the sample regarding the problem which is existing in the population, there is uncertainty. Uncertainty is involved. So that's why we have included the uncertainty. And the other thing I said, because of the nature of the business now, they have the great competition that leads to the uncertainty. So it is very important to measure the uncertainty involved with your decisions, right? This is what statistics. You collect the data, organize them, present them, analyze them, interpret, and you have to take an effective decision to your problem, right? This is what you are going to learn. That's why your second chapter is collection of data. Under that, you will learn how to collect the data for your problem, right? And also you will discuss what type of data you can collect. There are some concepts regarding to the types of data: primary data, secondary data, quantitative data, qualitative data. Likewise, there are many things you have to study, right? Then presentation of data, chapter number 3 and 4. Fifth one is summary measures, the numerical measures that we use to study these characteristics, right? So this is what your syllabus, right? So easy. Okay. Then next, now you have the good idea about the subject. Then next we move to what are the applications in statistics, or what are the fields where statistic is used, right? Now, if you go through this slide show, it says statistics plays vital role in every field of human activity, right? Okay. So actually, if you take natural sciences, social sciences, engineering field, medical field, every field, you can see statistic concepts and tools are highly used, right? Some of areas here we are going to explain. First area is the business. As I mentioned earlier, business people are now they have uncertainty environment because of the because of competition. So therefore, now they want one thing, they want to measure the uncertainty, that is probability. Not only that, right? Some examples where statistic used in the business field, you can see statistic helps businessmen to plan production according to the taste of the consumers. That means now before every business organization, before starting the coming year, they normally prepare their budgets, right? Production budget, everything they are planned. So production process or the production schedule, they plan based on the taste of the consumer. Taste of the consumer is nothing else, their demand. So you have to focus what is the demand for your product in the next year. So you can focus monthly or weekly, because some months the demand is not on average, it is less than to the average. Sometimes it is more than to the average. Likewise, you have to focus. So we have some statistical techniques. For example, we can use time series analysis to forecast the demand for the coming year. Then you can plan your production process. The second example, quality of the product. Using a statistic, we can measure the quality of the products. Nowadays, consumers are very, very concerned about the quality of the product. Therefore, producers are also always try to give quality products to the consumers. Then how they can measure this quality of their products? So these companies, they use statistical quality control. That is statistical quality control based on the statistical theories. You can see, you can get the experience, right? If you visit to insert, for example, if you can visit to the Milco company Umbrella, you can see they have a separate unit called quality control unit. They use statistical techniques, measures or charts to measure the quality of their products. Then the third example, forecasting demand. I have explained that earlier with the first example, right? Okay. Then some other areas in addition to the business, you can see statistics is highly used in economics field. Economics, highly used. It is highly used. For example, in A levels, you have learned, most of the students, they have learned economics as a subject, most of them. In economics, you have learned micro and macro both. In microeconomic part, you have learned one popular theory called demand theory. In demand theory, you have learned the relationship between the demand of a product and price of the product. You know there is a inverse or negative relationship. Then after you identify the relationship between the price and the demand of the product, so you have built up this relationship using an equation. So in that equation, actually, you have developed using a statistical technique called regression analysis, right? Even though without knowing that, during the A level, you have created that equation to explain the relationship between price and the demand of the product. Actually, theory behind that equation is nothing else, statistical technique. It is called regression analysis. And the other important thing, most of the economics theories we can learn using the statistical technique. So you have in economics students, they are having a subject called econometrics. So under the econometrics, the models, economic models, they build using the statistical techniques. Now, even though it is not mentioned in slideshow, actually financial field also highly use statistics. If you learn financial management or if you go to specialized finance, you can see the importance of the knowledge of statistics. It is highly used. The variance concept that is coming under the statistic, variance, standard deviation, expected value. These things are statistical techniques. Financial people, they highly use. Especially in financial management, they measure risk involved with the investment. Risk. One method of measuring the risk is they use standard deviation. It is a numerical measure coming under the statistics, right? Dispersion, right? Standard deviation, right? So the next thing you can see, right? The bank, in addition to the economics, next field where the statistic is applied is the banking, right? Now you can see how many commercial banks and how many public banks operate in the Sri Lanka. Banking is one sector. So there are a lot of banks are operating. Private and state banks operate. So they have the competition. Assume that one bank wants to introduce a new savings scheme. They never introduce that quickly. What they do a study whether it is possible to introduce this saving account to the people. They do the research. They do the study. They by doing the market survey, they check whether it is possible to market. The saving account is possible to market. So if now the question they have, is that possible to market? So in order to go through with that, they have to collect the data from the consumers, collect the data from the competitors, right? So there are a lot of things they have to do. All these things belong to the statistic. Not like the previous days. Now if you take any bank, you can see there is a special section. It is called research and development section. Research and development, right? Research and R&D section. Who is in charge of that? Is a statistician, right? So it is very important, this statistic for the banking sector, right? Then other some areas, administration, right? Statistical method will be used to determine the rise in the cost of living, right? Now, when you talk about the administration field, you can see, now if you take the macroeconomic levels, you can see there are many macroeconomic variables like interest rate, inflation rate, growth rate, right? So once you calculate the inflation, you have to collect the data. You have to collect the data regarding to the prices of the consumer goods. So again, it is a task of the statistics. You have to collect the data, right? The prices in the market, you have to go there and you have to collect this. You can see the central bank, they annually publish the annual report. In that annual report, they have published all these statistics regarding the macroeconomic variables, right? So again, it is very important, the statistics for the administration field, right? Then accounting and auditing, right? Accounting and auditing. If I go through this auditing one, accounting you can read. In the account and the auditing, what you can see, once the auditors are coming to any company, you know, every year the auditors are coming to the companies. Once the auditors are coming to the companies, they never go through each and every transaction during the year. They never go through each and every transaction. What they do, they select some transaction. Select out of the whole transaction, they select only some transaction. That means they selecting a sample. How do they select this sample? By their judgment. By their judgment. So under the statistic, you will learn under sampling, you will learn one method of selecting the sample is the judgment. That means judgmental sampling. You can learn that. So therefore, in auditing, it is very, very popular sampling method. Judgmental sampling. Right? Okay. So these are the some applications in some areas. In addition to that, if you take natural and social sciences, they also highly use statistics, right? You can read this one. You can see statistics plays a vital role in almost all natural and social sciences, right? So in natural sciences, they always do experiments. So the results of the experiments, they analyze using the statistical techniques, right? Right. Now we are moving to some technical terms that are used in the statistic. Technical terms. So we just call the important concept. Actually, they are technical terms. Population. What do you mean by population? Right? Day-to-day life, we have a different meaning for the population. That is the entire people in a country for a given period is called population. But in statistics, we have a different definition for the statistic. According to the slide, you can see all the individuals, objects or events on which we have to make some study is called population. Again, read everybody this. Again, read. Sometimes if you read this, you will not be able to understand. Never mind, just forget this. Actually, the population means all the items, all the people belong to our field of study. Right? Population means all the individuals, all the items belong to our field of study. Take my example, the average monthly income of the families in Colombo. In that case, my population is all the households live in Colombo. All the households live in Colombo. That is my population. Right? Okay. Then the next one, sample. Sample means part of a population. You take a part from the population, it is called a sample. Now you think why we need to have a sample. The reason most of the time in our studies, we are not in a position to go through each and every unit in the population. Once we go to study our problem, we are not in a position to go through each and every unit in the population due to some practical reasons. One reason, time constraint. Second reason, the cost constraint. Likewise, we have some constraints regarding to this. What is, we cannot go through each and every unit in the population. Therefore, what we do, we take a sample from the population. We take a sample from the population. Then we take a sample. Then that is, we take a part. So that is what we call sample. Now, if I move with my example, you know there are a lot of families living in Colombo, but I can't go through each and every family. So what I do, I select some families and go through the information from them. Right? Okay. Then the other two technical terms, parameters and statistics. A parameter is a numerical measure that describes the characteristic of an entire population. I said that once you take a data set, you are going to study the characteristic belong to the data set. If you have a population data, you can study population characteristics. So these population characteristics, again we discuss or we study using the numerical measures. So these numerical measures are called parameters. Then the next one, statistics. Statistic is a numerical measure that describes characteristic of a sample. After you collect the data from the sample, you study its characteristics. We know characteristics are we study using the numerical measure. The numerical measure that we use to study the sample characteristics are termed as statistics, sample statistics, right? Sample statistics, right? So you have, if you go to this slide, you can see some, you can see a table, right? It having three columns. You can see first column you have source, under the parameters population sample. You know, parameters belong to the population, statistics are belong to the sample, right? Most of the time, population parameters we cannot calculate. Why? Because I have explained earlier, we cannot go through each and every unit in the population due to that reasons. I have explained, right? But sample statistic we can calculate, right? Then the parameters, population parameters always constant. They never change. But sample statistics are subject to change. They are not constrained. Sorry, they are not constant. They are subject to change. For example, if you take two samples from the same population, if you calculate a statistic from the two samples, they get two different answers. So they are not constant, right? So some examples for the parameter, you can see some symbols are there. Please go through under the parameter column. First one is called mu. Second one is called sigma. Next one is called rho. Sorry, capital P, right? So mu we use for population mean, population average. Sigma used for the standard deviation of population. P used for population proportion, right? So x bar used for the sample average, and S used for the sample standard deviation. P and P bar we use for sample proportion. Even if I say this mu, standard deviation, sigma, right? Now sometimes you may have a problem. What are these things? But don't worry. Later you will get familiar with these notations, right? These symbols you will familiar, right? Okay. Then we have another two concepts, estimator and estimate. What do you mean by estimate? An estimate is a statistic used to estimate an unknown population parameter. If you can go back to the, okay, still you are in the previous slide, you can see the, sorry, go to the previous slide. Go to the previous slide. You can see the parameters we cannot calculate most of the time. Parameters are unknown. Why? Population parameters are unknown. Why? The reason we cannot go through each and every unit in the population due to that reasons. Therefore, most of the time they are unknown. Then, but we have the problem regarding the population parameters. In other words, we always study the population parameters. So they are unknown. So how we can estimate them? We estimate this unknown population parameters using the appropriate sample statistic. Right? We use appropriate sample statistic to estimate the given unknown population parameter. That is what we call estimator. Look at the next slide. Right? Estimator is defined as the statistic used to estimate an unknown population parameter. Then what do you mean by an estimate? Estimate is the particular value which the estimator takes on the set of data. In other words, we know we calculate statistics using a sample. Based on the sample data, you calculate a value for the statistic. Value that received to the statistic based on the sample data is called estimate. So even though these we have just discussed, but later lessons under the sampling and sampling distributions, we will discuss estimator and estimates. Right? Okay, now next we can discuss the branches of statistics. So the subject statistic we can divide into two areas as descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. The subject statistic we can divide into two areas as descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So what do you mean by descriptive statistics? Right? Actually, descriptive statistics explain the features and characteristics of a data set. Descriptive statistic merely explains or describe features and characteristics of a data set. So therefore, what are the functions coming under the descriptive statistic? If you can remember according to the definition, first function is collection of data, next organization of data, presentation of data, analysis of data. All these things coming under the descriptive statistics. Right? Then what do you mean by inferential statistics? As I mentioned earlier, most of the time statistical studies are based on the sample. Then, but the problem is in population. Problem is in the population. But we study the population problem using the sample. Then we are going to make a conclusion about the population problem based on the sample. So it is not a single activity. It is a process. Why I said process? We are going to convert sample information into the population information just simply. Right? That means based on the sample information, we are going to make a conclusion about the unknown population parameter. So it's a process. From the sample, you have to collect the data, organize them, present them, analyze them, interpret them. Based on the result of the analysis part, now what we are going to do, we are going to make a conclusion about the unknown population parameter. Unknown population parameter. So it's a process. This process is called inferential statistics. So in simply, what do you mean by inferential statistics? Making conclusion about the population, unknown population parameters based on the sample information. So it is we call inferential statistics, right? Okay. Then we are coming to the last slide of the lecture. It is limitation of the statistics. So far we have mentioned this is very, very important subject. This is important for the management students, science students, medical students, engineers, every part, every people. So this is very important subject. But even we said this is very important, but it has some inherent limitation. What are these limitations? You can see in the slide. First one, statistic does not deal with individual values, right? Even you collect the single figures, but statistic not deal with the single figures. So statistic deal with the entire data set. That's why it calculate numerical measures. Summary measures, can you remember? We calculate the numerical measures for the entire data set, not for a single figure, right? So that is the first limitation. Second one, statistical conclusions are not universally true, because all statistical conclusions we include a probability statement, right? So they are not universally true. The third limitation, statistical interpretation requires a high degree of skill and understanding of the subject, right? You need high knowledge of the subject. So for example, if I say like this, with 95% confidence, I can conclude that population mean lie between 1000 and 1500. What do you mean by that? Can you say the meaning? Right? With 5% level of significance, we can conclude that sample evidence not support for the claim. Do you know the meaning? So you have to know that. You have to know the subject. If you are going to interpret my two statements, you need the knowledge of the statistic. So that's why it says the statistical interpretation requires a high level, high degree of skill and understanding of the subject. Finally, statistic can be misused. Statistic can be misused. So many examples you can get from by watching the TV debates. I'm not going to explain, right? Statistic we can misuse. Most of the time people, they misuse these statistics. So these are the limitations of the statistic, right? So this is the today's summary, this lesson summary. You can see what we did. We have defined the statistic. We have explained the applications of statistics in the different fields. Then important concept. Finally, the limitations of the statistic. Right? So this is the summary of this first chapter. Right? From the next lecture, you will discuss the collection of data. Thank you.